All right, what's up, guys? It is, what is it? It's Monday night, but it's technically my Tuesday. I know these vlogs usually start with a time lapse of the sun coming up and not going down, but as you all know, I'm a third shifter, which makes everything suck, including these videos. As for right now, I'm not working 12-hour shifts, so I'm going in at normal time. I left a little bit earlier than I usually do. So yeah, and I'm sorry for this. I'm sure this looks terrible. I'm using these mirrors, the light here, to light my face, and it just looks yellow, orange. It's just terrible, terrible light. But I mean, it works, right? You can see me. But anyways, I'm doing what I said I was gonna do, and I'm bringing my camera with me everywhere. Usually whenever I start bringing my camera with me like this, it motivates me to just film stuff. So hopefully we can slap some kind of vlog together every day. That's it. I'll see you guys in a few hours. All right, the first question comes from Jeannie, and she asks, what is your favorite song? That is probably the hardest question of all time. That's almost harder than saying, what's your favorite band of all time? I don't know, it's so hard, it's so hard. Okay, with stuff like this, like movies, songs, music, stuff of that nature, I always have to break it down into different genres. It's probably somewhere between The Decline by NoFX and any Led Zeppelin song ever made. Okay, Tony asked, if you could make a documentary about anything, what would it be? I've asked myself this question many, many times. I mean, obviously you guys know my passion on drugs, like the drug culture, and what it's doing to everyone, how it's a fucking epidemic and people don't even know the half of it. Because I think that's what's at the root of like every documentary, right? It's something that you're passionate about, that you know a lot about, that you don't necessarily think a lot of people know about, so you want to inform them. But all right, we'll just leave that as the answer for that question. Also, Kayla basically had that same question, so Kayla, I hope that answers your question. All right, this one comes from Diane, and she asked, how did you know this was your calling? How did it find you, or you find it? I've always just been attracted to movies. I've always... What is that? Anyways, I've always felt this attraction to movies. Like, I love the process, how it's all put together. I love a great story mixed with great cinematography come together to make you feel something that you didn't feel before you watched this thing. It's storytelling, it's art, it's, in my opinion, it's art to the highest degree. Now granted, there's a lot of directors and people out there who that doesn't apply to, who take advantage, who just like with any art form has that person who's just doing it for the money. Honestly, if I just think back to like one specific memory that made me make the decision to where I told myself I wanted to be a filmmaker one day, probably when I was about 12 years old and I watched the movie Almost Famous. That movie blew me away. It was the first time a movie ever made me really feel like, I don't know. That movie sparked my love for music, my love for film. It was the first time I recognized how much went into a movie and how it was so much more than what I had always previously thought it to be. But all right, guys, that's it. Short, sweet little Q&A. I'm trying to intersperse it with the actual vlog like I've been talking about, so that's what you get. You get a couple questions, and we'll do more next time. If I didn't get your question, sorry. I'm sorry that like 90% of this was shot in the car, but hey, what can you do? Right, I will see you right at this exact spot tomorrow. See you then.
That's it.